You found Ask Alice, the podcast that takes a deep dive into the societal currents shaping our lives. I'm your host, Alice, and together we'll explore the often unseen forces at play. We'll examine cutting-edge research, dissect the data, and most importantly, if you're seeking to understand what's shaping our society,
we've got this stack
this is
of
the place.
really fascinating sources you sent over about the U.S. food supply chain, its resilience. Our goal here, our mission, is basically to pull out the key insights for you, sort of help navigate how food actually gets to your table. It's complex.
Yeah, and what jumped out at me right off the bat from the material was this projection. It's kind of surprising. The U.S. is apparently looking at its biggest agricultural trade deficit in decades for 2025, estimated at, what, $42 billion?
$42 billion. That's significant. And the sources really lay out how much we depend on imports now for stuff you probably eat constantly, like almost 60% of fruits and nuts.
And about 40% for vegetables. Seafood's even higher, like 70, maybe 85% imported.
Whoa.
Exactly. And the sources, they really argue that this growing dependency, plus, recent things like the pandemic, tariff swings, they haven't necessarily caused brand new issues, but they really put a spotlight on weaknesses that were kind of already there.
Yeah.
Baked into the system.
Right. So the idea is a system built mostly for efficiency, maybe cheapness over the years. It turns out it's got some hidden fragility. So let's unpack that. What weaknesses did the sources highlight? And then maybe what are the ideas for making things more robust?
Well, a big one is concentration, in a couple of ways, really. First, geographically. We lean really hard on just a few countries, Mexico, Canada mainly, for tons of key stuff, like tomatoes, avocados.
Things we see year-round now.
Exactly. So if something happens there, weather, policy, anything, we feel it pretty directly here.
And I saw the materials also flagged concentration, like domestically,
Yep.
in processing and distribution. Did they explain why that's risky?
Oh, yeah. It means if, say, one big processing plant goes offline, maybe a storm, maybe an outbreak, that we saw a huge chunk of the supply for certain foods could just stop. For whole regions sometimes.
Okay.
And then add in the whole infrastructure issue.
Yeah.
Aging roads, ports, refrigerated transport of the cold chain is crucial. Problems there mean delays, higher costs, more food waste, especially for fresh stuff.
Yeah, and the labor part seemed really critical, too, based on what you sent.
It absolutely is. You've got an aging farmer population, millions of jobs across the whole food sector unfilled, plus the reliance on foreign labor has its own set of complexities. Visas, availability, it's tricky.
And food safety inspections came up, too, with all these imports.
Right. The sources raise concerns that the FDA isn't hitting its targets for checking foreign facilities. That's worrying when you think about all that seafood, fruit, and veg coming in.
Okay, so quite a few vulnerabilities. Understanding that, what did the sources suggest? How do we move from just efficiency to building more resilience?
A lot of focus was on boosting domestic production, different ways to do that. Supporting regional food systems was one idea. Basically, grow and sell food closer to where people actually live. Cuts down transport reliance.
Makes sense. And things like vertical farming.
Yeah, vertical farming was mentioned. Though the sources did note, high startup costs, energy use. Those are challenges right now.
What about aquaculture? Fish farming. We import so much seafood, but the U.S. isn't a huge producer itself.
Right. Only 18th globally, I think the material said. There's huge potential there to offset imports, definitely. But the sources pointed out it faces some pretty complex regulatory hurdles here, not just tech issues.
So, not straightforward. What else? Other strategies?
Diversifying where we get imports from so we're not too reliant on one or two places. Definitely modernizing that infrastructure. We talked about ports, roads, cold storage capacity. And using technology better.
Technology. How so? What kind of tech?
Things like using AI maybe for better forecasting, spotting potential disruptions earlier, and tech like blockchain for traceability so you can track food from the farm right to the store. Makes it easier to pinpoint problems fast if something goes wrong.
Traceability. Okay, got it.
And obviously finding ways to address those labor shortages is key across the board.
So wrapping this up for you listening, understanding these weak spots, the reliance on Mexico for avocados, say, or the farm labor gaps, the old infrastructure. It helps us see maybe the hidden stuff behind just grabbing things easily at the store. It's not always simple.
Yeah, and the sources suggest the way forward isn't just tweaking the old system, it's more fundamental. shifting to resilience by, like we said, boosting domestic options where possible, diversifying sources, using tech smarter, and sorting out the people power side of it.
This deep dive really shows that keeping our food supply secure is this huge interconnected puzzle. It involves global climate affecting crops elsewhere, safety checks on imports, even the rules for new farming tech here at home. It's all linked.
And it brings up a question, I think, that the sources kind of hinted at. When we talk about food security, just having enough calories around, are we thinking enough about nutrition security? Consistent access for everyone to healthy and affordable food, especially when things like labor costs or transport issues can really hit the price and availability of fresh stuff.
That's a really important point. Food security versus nutrition security. Definitely something to think about.